G'day Wealth Builders, and welcome to the very first episode of Aussie Wealth Builders, the show that gives you a straight-talking, no-nonsense guide to building your financial future right here in Australia. I'm your host, Mick.
And I'm your co-host, Chloe. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here with us at the very beginning. Over the coming weeks and months, we're going to be diving into everything: the ASX, property, superannuation, side hustles.
The lot. But we've got to be honest with you. We had a long chat about what this first episode should be. We were tempted to jump straight into the sexy stuff, the hottest ETFs, how to pick a winning stock, the things that get all the clicks.
But we decided against it because doing that would be irresponsible. Jumping into investing without a solid foundation is like trying to build a skyscraper on a patch of sand. It might look good for a little while, but sooner or later, it's all going to come crashing down.
Too right. So today we're doing something different. We're spending this entire episode on the 5 essential, non-negotiable steps every single Australian must take before they invest their first dollar. This is the unsexy but essential stuff. Get this right, and you're not just setting yourself up for success in the stock market, you're setting yourself up for success in life.
This is the foundation. So grab a cuppa, get comfortable, and let's get building.
All right, Chloe, let's get into the guts of it. Before we even get to step 1 on our checklist, I reckon we need to talk about the mindset. Why do so many of us avoid looking at our own finances? It's like we'd rather do anything else.
It's a huge psychological barrier, Mick. I think it comes down to a few core things. Firstly, there's the fear of what you might find. It's like avoiding going to the doctor because you're worried about the diagnosis. Many people subconsciously know they're overspending, and seeing the cold, hard numbers makes it real, which can feel shameful or overwhelming.
It's that head in the sand approach. If I don't look at the credit card bill, the debt doesn't really exist, right? I've been there. You just sort of hope it all works itself out. Plus, there's that classic Aussie, she'll be right attitude. We tend to be optimistic and think things will just fall into place.
And that optimism is a wonderful national trait, but it can be detrimental to your financial health. Hope is not a strategy. The second barrier is that people feel it's too complicated. The world of finance is filled with jargon designed to make everyday people feel like they can't possibly understand it without paying for an expensive expert.
So people just switch off. They hear amortization or franking credits and their eyes glaze over. Our promise here at Aussie Wealth Builders is to cut through all of that noise. We'll always break it down into simple human terms.
Exactly. So with that in mind, let's move to the first and arguably most powerful step on the checklist. Step number 1 is you must have a budget. And I want to reframe that word. Budget sounds restrictive, like a diet. Let's call it a spending plan. It's not about restriction, it's about direction. You're telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went.
I love that, a spending plan. When I was in my early 20s, I had no plan. My money just sort of evaporated. I'd get paid on a Thursday, and by Monday, I'd be looking at my bank account wondering what on earth happened. I had nothing to show for it, except a few receipts from the pub and maybe a new t-shirt.
It's an incredibly common story, Mick. The goal of a spending plan is to make your spending conscious. And the best starting point for 90% of people is the 50-30-20 rule. It's simple and effective. Let's break it down properly. This is based on your after-tax income, the actual amount that hits your bank account.
Okay, so first up is the 50%.
Correct. 50% of your take-home pay is allocated to your needs. These are the absolute must-haves. If you don't pay for these, you're in trouble. We're talking about your rent or mortgage repayments, your utility bills like electricity and water, your groceries, your car insurance and registration, and essential transport costs to get to work.
The boring but essential stuff, the things that keep a roof over your head and food in the fridge. What about a Netflix subscription, Chloe? Is that a need?
An excellent question. For most people, no. That falls squarely into the next category, the 30%. This is for your wants. This is the fun stuff. It's your Netflix, your morning coffee from the local cafe. It's going out for dinner, buying new clothes, hobbies, and tickets to see the footy.
So this is the lifestyle part of the plan. And it's important to have this. If your budget is all needs and no wants, you'll be miserable and you'll give up. It's like a crash diet. They never work.
That's the critical insight. This 30% is your permission to spend on things that bring you joy, guilt-free, because you've planned for it. And that leaves the final and most powerful 20%.
The magic 20%.
This is where wealth is built. 20% of your take-home pay should be allocated directly to savings and debt repayment.
This is the portion you use to build your emergency fund, to smash your credit card debt, and eventually to invest. We call this paying yourself first. Before you pay for your wants, before you even pay for some of your needs, you take this 20% and put it aside. You treat it like the most important bill you have to pay each month.
So let's use some real numbers. Say someone takes home $5,000 a month after tax. Under this plan, $2,500 goes to their needs, $1,500 is for their wants, and a solid $1,000 goes straight to building their future.
Exactly. And that $1,000 a month is a powerful wealth building engine. Now, the 50-30-20 is a guideline. If you live in Sydney or Melbourne, your housing costs, a need, might be closer to 60%. That's okay. It just means you need to adjust and pull back from the wants category to compensate. The non-negotiable part is that 20% for your future self.
Okay, so people are convinced they need a spending plan. How do they actually track this stuff?
You can go as simple or as complex as you like. The best method is the one you'll actually stick with. You can use a simple spreadsheet, just listing your income and your expenses, or you can use one of the many great Aussie budgeting apps out there like Frollo or the WeMoney app, which securely link to your bank accounts and automatically categorize your spending for you.
That's a good way to get a quick diagnosis of where the money is actually going. You might get a shock when you see you spent $500 on Uber Eats last month.
That shock is a good thing. It's the data you need to make better decisions. The key is to track your spending for a month or two, see where you land, and then make small, conscious changes to align your spending with the 50-30-20 goals. Don't try to be perfect overnight.
Brilliant. That's a really deep dive on the budget. So, a person has their spending plan sorted and they're consistently saving that 20%. What's the very first thing they should do with that money?
Step number 2. Build your emergency fund. This is your financial firewall. It is the single most important asset that protects your long-term investment plan from life's inevitable curveballs.
I can speak to this from painful experience. Years ago, before I had this sorted, the transmission on my old Ford Falcon completely died. The bill was something like $3,000. I had no savings, so where did it go? Straight onto the high-interest credit card. It took me over 2 years to pay that off, and I probably paid an extra $1,000 in interest. It was a nightmare that set me back ages.
That is the classic emergency fund story, Mick, and it illustrates the point perfectly. An emergency fund is a pool of cash. We recommend 3 to 6 months worth of your essential needs expenses saved in a separate high-interest savings account.
So if your core living expenses, rent, bills, food, are say $3,000 a month, you're aiming for an emergency fund of somewhere between $9,000 and $18,000.
Correct. If you have a very stable job, like in a government department, you might be comfortable with 3 months' worth. If you're a freelancer, a contractor, or work in a less stable industry, you should definitely aim for the 6-month mark. This money is not to be invested. It needs to be safe and accessible. Its job isn't to make you rich. Its job is to stop you from becoming poor when something goes wrong.
And when you say high interest savings account, you mean one of those online ones that's separate from your everyday transaction account, right? Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. Look for an account with no fees that offers a competitive interest rate. The rates change all the time, so have a squiz at comparison sites like CanStar or Finder to see who has a good deal right now. The interest you earn will be small, but it will at least help your fund keep up with inflation.
This step is all about peace of mind, isn't it? Knowing that if you get a massive dental bill or the hot water system breaks, you can just handle it. No stress, no debt.
That's it. It's the foundation that allows you to invest with confidence, which brings us to the next massive hurdle people need to clear. Step number 3, destroy your high-interest debt. We are declaring war on consumer debt, specifically credit cards, personal loans, and those sneaky buy now, pay later services.
This stuff is an anchor dragging on your financial life. It is mathematically impossible to get ahead and build wealth when you're paying a bank 20% interest every year. Think about that. The average return of the Australian stock market over the long term is around 9 to 10% per year. If your debt is costing you 20%, you're losing the race before you've even started.
Let's put some hard numbers on that. Imagine you have a $5,000 credit card debt with an 18% interest rate. If you only make the minimum required repayments each month, it could take you over 25 years to pay it off, and you would pay thousands and thousands of dollars in interest, maybe even more than the original debt itself.
It is a trap designed to keep you poor.
It's absolutely brutal. So what's the battle plan? How do people attack this mountain of debt?
There are two scientifically proven and very popular methods: the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. Let's start with the snowball, which is all about psychology.
The snowball. I like this one. So you list all your debts from the smallest balance to the largest, regardless of the interest rate. You make the minimum payment on all of them, but you throw every single spare dollar you have at the smallest debt first.
Correct. Once that smallest debt is completely paid off, you get a massive psychological win. You feel motivated. Then you take all the money you were paying on that debt and you roll it over, adding it to the payment for the next smallest debt. You create a snowball of money that gets bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill, wiping out each debt one by one.
It gives you momentum. It feels good to cross the debt off the list completely. Even if it's just a small one, it keeps you in the fight.
Exactly. Now, the second method is the debt avalanche. This one is for the mathematicians. With the avalanche, you list your debts from the highest interest rate down to the lowest, regardless of the balance. You still make minimum payments on everything, but you throw all your extra cash at the debt with the highest interest rate first.
So you might be tackling a big, ugly credit card debt at 22% interest, even if you have a smaller personal loan at 10%.
Precisely. From a pure numbers perspective, the avalanche method will save you the most money in interest and get you out of debt faster. However, it can take longer to get that first win, so it requires more discipline.
So which one is better?
Honestly, the one you will stick to. If you need those quick wins to stay motivated, use the snowball. If you're a robot who is motivated by pure financial efficiency, use the avalanche. Both work. The most important thing is to pick one and start today.
Okay, so our listener has their spending plan. They've built a nice little emergency fund, and they've created a plan to smash their bad debts. They are in a fantastic position. It feels like they're finally ready to start thinking about the future.
They are. And that brings us to step 4. Set clear, written financial goals. This is the part where you give your money a purpose. I want to be rich is not a goal, it's a dream. To make it real, you need to use the SMART goal framework.
The SMART framework. I've heard of this. Break it down for us.
SMART is an acronym. Your goals need to be specific. What exactly do you want to achieve? Don't just say, buy a house. Say, save a 20% deposit for a 3-bedroom house in the suburb of Campsie, Dallas, or Acacia Ridge. Measurable. How will you track your progress? Your goal needs a number. Save $80,000 for that house deposit. Achievable. Is your goal realistic? Wanting to save $80,000 in 1 year on a $50,000 salary isn't achievable. It needs to be a stretch, but not a fantasy. Relevant. Does this goal actually matter to you? Does it align with your values and what you want from life? There's no point in setting a goal to buy an investment property if what you really want is the freedom to travel. And time-bound. Every goal needs a deadline. I will save $80,000 for a house deposit by December 2028.
I love that. It takes a fuzzy dream and turns it into a concrete action plan. Let's do another example. What about investing?
A great one. A vague goal is, I want to start investing. A SMART goal is, I will invest $500 every month into a diversified ETF portfolio starting this month with the goal of reaching a portfolio value of $50,000 within the next 5 years.
See, that's a plan. It's specific, you can measure it, it's achievable for many people, it's relevant to building wealth, and it has a timeline. Writing it down makes it real.
It's a critical step. Your financial goals will dictate your investment strategy later on. A short-term goal, like saving for a holiday, requires a very different, safer approach than a long-term goal, like retirement, which is 30 or 40 years away. So take some time, sit down with a pen and paper or with your partner and write down 1 to 3 clear, SMART financial goals.
All right, this brings us to the final step on the checklist. This one's a bit more personal, a bit more about feelings and emotions.
It is, and it's incredibly important. Step 5 is understand your personal risk tolerance. In simple terms, this means figuring out how you would react emotionally and financially if the stock market had a major crash.
The sleep at night test, basically. If you invested $20,000 and you woke up tomorrow and the news was screaming that the market had crashed and your portfolio was now only worth $12,000, what would your gut reaction be?
And you need to be brutally honest with yourself. Would you A, feel sick, panic, and immediately sell everything to stop the bleeding? B, feel nervous but do nothing, trusting that the market will eventually recover? Or C, see it as a massive on-sale event and get excited about investing more money at cheaper prices?
If you answered A, you have a low risk tolerance. If you answered B, you're probably in the middle with a moderate tolerance. And if you answered C, you have a high risk tolerance. There is no right or wrong answer here.
That is the key point. This isn't about being tough or brave. The worst possible thing an investor can do is overestimate their risk tolerance, invest aggressively, and then panic sell at the very bottom of a market crash. That is how you turn a temporary paper loss into a permanent, devastating, real loss.
So knowing this about yourself before you invest helps you choose the right types of investments in the first place.
Precisely. Your risk tolerance is a combination of your willingness to take risks, that's your gut feeling, and your ability to take risks. Your ability is determined by your circumstances. A 25-year-old with a secure job and 40 years until retirement has a very high ability to take on risk because they have decades for their portfolio to recover from any crashes.
Whereas someone who is 60 and planning to retire in 5 years has a very low ability to take on risk. They don't have time to wait for a recovery.
Exactly. So you need to consider both your personality and your time frame. Being honest with yourself here is the key to building an investment portfolio that you can stick with for the long haul, through good times and bad.
So there you have it. The 5 foundational, non-negotiable steps to take before you even think about the ASX. Let's do a quick final recap.
Number 1, create a spending plan. Know where your money is going using a simple framework like the 50-30-20 rule.
Number 2, build that emergency fund. Get 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved in cash so that life's little disasters don't derail your entire future.
Number 3, destroy your high-interest debt. Declare war on credit cards and personal loans. Use the snowball or avalanche method and free yourself from that anchor.
Number 4, set clear written goals. Turn your vague dreams into specific, measurable, time-bound targets that give your money a purpose.
And number 5, understand your risk tolerance. Be honest about how you'd handle a market crash so you can build a portfolio that lets you sleep at night. It's a lot, we know, but this is the real work. This is what separates successful, long-term wealth builders from people who just gamble on the stock market for a little while before getting scared and giving up.
Master these 5 steps and you will be in the top 10% of Australians when it comes to your financial literacy. You will have a foundation of solid rock.
We really want to get this conversation started. So our question for you this week is, which one of these 5 steps are you currently working on? Or which one do you need to focus on the most? Let us know in the comments section below. There's no judgment here. We're all on this journey together.
And if you found this deep dive valuable and you're ready to take the next step on your wealth building journey, please do us a massive favor and hit that subscribe button and maybe even share this episode with a friend who you think might need to hear it.
Thanks so much for sticking with us for our very first episode. We appreciate it more than you know. Next week, with this foundation firmly in place, we're finally ready to pull back the curtain on the stock market.
That's right. In the next episode, we'll be walking you through, step by step, how to actually buy your very first share. We'll demystify the whole process and show you just how easy it can be. You won't want to miss it.
Cheers for tuning in. Now go on, get building.